going to talk about the compound data types, or the data compound built-in types in Python. Some of them are list, tuples, dictionaries, and we also have what we call it as sets. Okay, let's take them one by one. As you know, lists and tuples both are ordered sequence of objects. List is mutable, whereas tuple is immutable. You cannot modify the tuple. It is closed in a parenthesis, whereas list is in a square bracket. Okay, and both are ordered sequence, which means both can be indexed. Okay, they can be an ordered sequence. There is a particular order in which they are arranged. All right, and then there is a dictionary. Dictionary follows a similar kind of an object where we have a key value pairing. There is a key and the value pairing that happens. Usually this is an unordered type, compound type. So what's important here is to see the mapping. And then there is a set. Set is kind of a non-duplicate values, which means a unique values that are available within the curly brackets. Okay, and they are also unordered. All right, now let's take one by one and see what they usually holds. Okay, the very first one we'll talk about is called as lists. Okay, so as the name itself suggests, list is nothing but it contains an ordered sequence of object. Okay, ordered sequence of objects which are mutable. You can modify them, you can change them. All right, so they are basically ordered and mutable data types in Python, and they can be created using square brackets, and each element in that, or the values in that, is comma separated, like the way that we can see this example. What we have here, English ovals. So I have defined a oval here which says variable name or a list name. In particularly, list name is ovals, and within the square brackets we have defined these individual values, and each value is separated by a comma. Okay, so values can be strings, values can be again, they can be integers, floating point, it can be complex numbers, anything. Okay, but now in this example we have taken all to be a string, and in particularly they are all single characters, AEIOU. And if I print, it will print that list. All right, so now there is also, we need to understand something in relation to list, which we call it as indexing and slicing. So let's take this example, the very example. I can go ahead and say, let's take this. I'll just try to copy the same thing. So, so what I have done here, this is my workbook. Just I have taken a variable and defined these list, which is of a containing each single character. All right, and now what is indexing? How do I access an element or a value? It's the same way that we can do in arrays, right? We can do that in strings in Python as well. Like for example, 0, what this will return, this will return the 0th index value, which is it's starting 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, and so on. So vowels within the square bracket, if I put the index 0, it will fetch me the very first value. And at the same time, if I go ahead and type, if I want to fetch everything after element 2, okay. So what it means is, if I put 1 colon, so colon specifies what this is a starting position, and end position is not given, which means it will be end of the list. So starting from the index position 1, which is 0 and 1, 1 is E. From E to rest of the list I need to select. So that is what it is doing. It is selecting from the starting position, and colon will tell me what is the rest of the thing. So if you observe here, right, let me give you another example. So, if one second, just a second. Here, if I go and give 1 colon 3. What this will give, from the starting position, index position 1 till 3, but not 3 is included, which means, so here 0 1 2 3, so it will start from 1, which is this one, and then it will end at 3, 0 1 2 3, but it does not include 3, which means it will only select 3, E and I. Okay, that is what it is. So how we are giving, this is a starting position, and then colon, and then we are going to give the end position. Okay, so that is how the naming convention of indexing, and we want to, if we want to fetch it. Okay, slicing and indexing, that's how we can do. This is how we slice the part of a list. So this is a first position start, and this is the end position of the index. But whenever we say the end position itself will not be included. Okay, like for example 0 1 2 3, 3 is the third index is 0, o, which is not included, but from 1 2 will be included. Okay, that is the reason it will return this value. And also understand that this operation, or whatever we are doing, this will not modify the original list. It will still be retaining the original list. Okay, so it won't go ahead and modify the original list, but it will help you to select the part of the list. You can go ahead and create, like for example, if I say I only want to select O and U, what I can do, I can go ahead and say, so what position is it, 0 1 2 3, so from third position onwards I want to select, and here I can go ahead and assign to another list, which can be like oval 1. Okay, maybe oval 1. So if I go ahead and see what oval 1 contains, it only contains 0, O and U. Okay, so that is how you, but still at originally my original list will be unaltered. It is not changed because of this. All right, so did you guys understand this? And another parameter, if I want to show you one more thing here, ovals, if I go and give, let's say it's starting from 0, and I want to end it till the, what is that, 0 1 2 3 4. Okay, if I want to have it till that, or I can give it blank. If I give it blank, it will be the end, and then I can give the steps. If I give the step like 2, it will jump those many. So 0, it will skip E, then it will go to the second position, it will skip O, and then go to the second position. This is what the step operation is. If you want to give a step, you want to remove, you don't want to include that. Okay, that this is what the step operator is, last one. So this is the first, which is the starting point, this is the end, and this is the step. Okay, and if I go ahead and give, if I want to, let's say, I can also refer or get the values based on the reverse indexing as well. What is that reverse indexing? Like for example, let's say, let me go ahead and select and clear this. Okay, first, so let's say this is my index. All right, this is my list. And now suppose if I go ahead and give -1, what will happen? It will return me the very last one. So why is this returning the very last one? Because now I am giving the reverse index. Reverse index starts from -1, -1, -2, -3, -4, and then -5, or it can be 0. -5 and 0 are both same. Let's go ahead and test that. If I go ahead and say -5, it will return me A. And if I go ahead and give 0, that will also return me A. Okay. So what I'm trying to bring to your attention here is, in a list, you can access each value of the list either by giving the index in a order, or you can go ahead and give a reverse index with a negative number starting from the very last one, which will be -1, -1, -2, -3, -4, -5, or it can be 0 as well. Okay, both means the same. All right. So this is how you can access the values within the list through indexing, and as well as you can do the slicing part of it as well. Okay, so Python provides access to the elements and compound types through indexing for a single elements and slicing of multiple elements. Like we saw how we can slice the multiple part of the elements by using colon. Okay, and start position, end position, and also the step operator if you want to use or skip certain values within it. All right. And next, if you go ahead and see, we also saw this how it uses negative indexing and all that. And also we saw how we can go from the zeroth index and go up to the third index, but the third index won't be included. Okay, that is what we also saw that. And another important thing, this is very important operator. I'll come to that, why this is important operator. Let's go ahead and see. um, I can just select it in a blue, and then capital D. If you press twice, it will delete the cell. Okay, that's the shortcut. And now, now we have this list. And suppose I want to. Sometimes an interview questions will be arising out of this. What it will be like? I want to reverse the values in a list. How can I do that? You can do that by a simple saying colon colon -1. What you are saying is you are trying to start from zero, from the first to the last. So first, and if you give both of them as blank, it will be stating that you are selecting the entire list. And then I am giving the step operator as -1, which means I am reversing them. Okay, I am reversing them. So if I go ahead and see what this will do, this will create the list in a reverse order, like u will become the very first element, and o, I, e, and then the last will be the very first element that you have. So the best way you can do the reversing of a list is by giving colon -1. So what it is, so if you give both of them colon as a blank, which means the start and the end position, which is selection of the entire list. And if you give -1, which means you are trying to skip it from the reverse order. Okay, so which means 0 will be first, u will be first, o will be second, I will be third, and so on. All right. So now, that is one important aspect that I just want to bring to your attention. And another thing, so here, if you observe, what am I trying to do here? I am trying to refer the index name and then assign a value to it, which means I am trying to modify that values. Okay. So if I go here, let's say, I'll select all and then delete. Let's say I'll create a num list. Num list is containing what? 12, 13, 16, 34. Okay, and then 67. All right, this is my num list, or I can just say n list for simplicity. All right, so now if I go ahead and say n list of 0 is equal to 11. So what this will do, if I go ahead and see n list, what this has created now. So what it has done is, at the very first position, which is the index of 0, I am trying to assign a certain value to it. Okay, which means I am assigning at a 0th index value 11, which means this 12 is replaced. Okay, this 12 is being replaced by 11. That is what you can see here. Instead of 12, which was earlier, now it has become 11. So why is this happening? This is happening because of this property, which is mutable. Mutable is what? You can go ahead and modify. You can go ahead and modify or mutate. The value is going to mutate. That is the reason. All right. And now, if I go ahead and see another thing, so here I'm selecting a certain part of it, and then I'm going to modify. So it will instead of very one, I'm going at the index position 1 and all the way to the index position 3, but 3 is not included, which means 1 and 2, two elements, two values. I am assigning these two values, hence the list is going to have these two values changed. Okay, this is how you can play around and modify the values within the list. Okay, make sense, guys?
Yes, sir.
Okay, good. So now let's talk about some of the methods that are involved in list. Okay, there are, because why is this? Let me give here one example. List dot and tab out, because everything is an object in Python. At the same time, list is also an object within Python. So if it is an object, then any object is bound to have properties. They can have attributes, they can have methods. Methods are the functions which are referenced within an object. So that is the reason you can see all these built in methods or objects, or we can say object properties, which are part of the list. So there is an append, there is a clear, copy, count, extend, and there is insert, pop, remove, reverse, and sort. All these are the attributes and methods, built-in methods as a part of the list. Okay, so let's take this an example here. So how do you find the length of a list? Just by giving len. It is the same as in strings. Okay, like you might have seen this also, right? Text is equal to, let's say, exam, and now text, or I can say length of text. So what this give? This will give me the number of characters within the string. In the same way, if I go ahead and say, uh, let's say length of this list, 1 2 3 4 5 6. So total length of this list is 6. Okay, it's the same. It's very much, list will work very much similar to a a string. Okay, because list you can make it as very similar to kind of a arrays. Okay, you can say that. And then let's go ahead and identify the another things. So what? Remove, as the name itself suggests, it will remove the element. Okay, it will remove the values within an array. Let's say my n list contains what? These values. Now n list dot remove. Okay, and if I just give this, so what will happen? List object has no attributes, which means, yeah, just give it this one. Yeah. Now, what it means is it takes at least one argument. So you need to pass certain things here. So what value you want to remove? Okay. So in this case, let's say if I want to remove 11, and then I go ahead and see the list, the 11 is nowhere part of my list, which means I am modifying the list using these methods. I am eliminating. So what happens? It is impacting my original list itself. It is not creating a copy of the list here. It is actually what in technical terms this will called as a destructive methods, which will make changes to the list itself. Okay, and then, so what is the other another thing that we can say? One is remove, and then there is an append. Append is what? It will add to the very end of it. In our example, let's say if I want to let's tab out and see append is there, and if I want to append, what I want to append, I want to append maybe 78. Okay, so what this will do at the very last, so it will be appending at the very last of my list. So if I go ahead and see the list, 78 is appended at the very last. This is what append will do. Okay. And then what else? If I go ahead, yeah, concatenation is the same thing like we do using the, let's say it is a n list, and let's create m list as well. M is equal to let's say let it contain only 99 comma 100. Okay, this is my m list. Now I want to add n list and m list. I can just do that by n list plus m list. So what this will do, this will create the concatenation. So if you observe this, guys, n list and m list, so I am trying to add these two lists, and that can be done using arithmetic operator, addition operator, and this will be concatenation. Concatenation, okay, which is nothing but you are joining them. So this list plus 99 and 100, okay, they will be together added, whereas my original list are still intact. Okay, my original lists are still intact, they are not changed because of concatenation, they are still the same. I can go ahead and create something called as uh, total list. Okay, I can go ahead and create a total list here, and if I go ahead and reference my total list, this will be a concatenated list. Okay, so that is what we can do. By concatenation can be done using the plus operator. And another thing, there can also be a multiplication that I can do, like for example, uh, let's say a simple list will contain what for me. Let's say it contains a and let's say z, and now I want, let's say l. L contains, L is a list I'm talking about. L into let's say 2. What it will do? It will multiply so many times. So what is happening? If I do the multiplication operator on the list, it will repeat the values so many times within the list. Okay, if I go ahead and give 3, it will remove 3. It will be multiplying 3 times. It will creating the duplicates of the LA values 3 times. Okay, and whereas the sum or the addition will concatenate two lists and create altogether a new list. All right. And let's say sort, as the name itself suggests, what it does, it will do the sorting of an array. Let's say this is my, is there oval still existing? Because I have not cleared it. Yeah, ovals is still existing. Now if I want to sort an array, so what I can do, I can go ahead and use, this is already sorted. Let's say mm, numbers I have got. So 1 comma 99 comma 23 comma 22, and now this is the uh, list. Okay, now what I want to do, I want to do sort. I want to do sort. So what it will do, it will do the sorting on the num array, num list itself. If I go ahead and see the num, what it will show, this will be in sorted order. If you observe 1, 99, 33, and 22. So now the num list itself has been sorted. So what it is, the sort operation is also destructive in nature. It will modify the original list itself. Okay, and that will be sorted in this, or I can go ahead and say reverse as well. That is also possible. If I go ahead and enter this, it will be kind of whatever it is, it will reverse. Now it is like 22, 199, 20, 33, and 22. It will go ahead like 22, 33, 99, and 1. So it will reverse the list also. Okay, one way to do, directly use a built-in method called reverse, or I have shown you this also, right? You can go ahead and do colon minus 1. That will also be absolutely fine to do the reversing of the list. Okay, so just a kind of an interview question. Remember that how without a built-in method, how can we do? We can do it by using indexing or slicing. Okay, or you can also use a reverse as a built-in list method. All right. And now let's go ahead and see what else you can do. You can reverse, you can, yeah, even pop. What will do, pop itself, like in JavaScript also, you might have seen, right? Pop is nothing but it will remove the element from the array. So that is what pop will do here. In this case as well, pop will remove, but it will remove depending on the position that you provide there. Like, or in JavaScript it was pop. Pop does not have any argument, but here there is an argument. Let's see that what it is. Now let me take a total list. Total list. What is the name? Okay, total list. All right. So total list is this one. Now total list dot pop, and then I want to specify the index of what I want to remove. Okay, 1 2 0 1 2 3 4 5 6 7. Suppose I want to remove sixth index. Okay, 0 1 2 3 4 5 6. So I want to remove 99. So I will give 6 here. So the moment I give 6, so 19. So what this will return, it will return the element or the value that is popped out. Okay, now if I go ahead and just list the if I go ahead and see the list, the 99 is removed or popped out of the list. All right, now that is about some of the basic methods or built-in methods that are related to lists. And again, yeah, there is if I go ahead and pop is what it does, and clear what it will do. Clear will completely remove, it will empty, it will clear the list. Okay, dot clear, no parameters to it. Okay, and then there is a count will give what, so how many elements of the similar are there in the list. Like for example, count is a little interesting. Let's say list plus I will add another thing. Maybe I'll add 100. Prior to that, I will add, let's say, 23 comma 34. Okay, and then I'll add another 34. All right, now my total list will contain this will be, I'll assign this back to the total list. All right, now my total list will contain what, all these elements. And now let's say I want to count how many times 23 is there within the element, within the list, or I want to count how many times 34 exists in the list. So what I need to do is I need to utilize the count method, and I need to pass the argument 34, and it will return me how many times 34 exists in the list. So 34 exists 3 times, which means 1, and then 2, and then 3. Okay, so it will return how many counts of a particular value exist in the list. So did you guys understand this, guys?
Yes, sir.
Okay, good. So yeah, now what is happening here? So originally my n list contains this, and my m list contains only two values. And now I am trying to extend my n list with the values in m list. Okay. Now for that I need to utilize extend and then create all the way to 67. It is there. And at the same time, there is also yum list twice. It is coming twice because I have executed it multiple times. If I execute one more times, if I see, it will add another two values. Okay, so that is the reason you are seeing these multiple times here. Okay, all right. So make sense, guys, what extends does?
Yes, sir.
All right. So that's about it in terms of lists. I know there is a lot to learn in lists as well. We can go ahead now that we have only taken the homogeneous values, like for example, only numbers and only strings that we have taken. List can also be a combination as well. See, list, if you go ahead and create, this can also contain numbers. It can contain characters. It can go ahead and contains yeah, this also floating point numbers. So all this is possible. The values can be again a different data types. You can also go ahead and say create a list containing a list. Okay, that is also fine. Okay, so if I go ahead and see a list, that is also absolutely fine. So that is how you create matrix as well. Like for example, how do you create a matrix? Matrix is equal to, let's say I have a list, and then I'm going to create let's say 1 comma 2 comma 3, and then there is another which might be 4 comma 5 comma 6, and then there is 7 comma 8 comma 9. Okay, this is absolutely fine. You can go. So what it is a list is nested within a list. Okay, so and again you can go ahead and reference in the similar way through indexing. If I go ahead and give 0, so it will return me the first list. Okay, so all the things, but the very base or the crux of an idea is, so just to recapitulate, lists are organized or the ordered sequence of objects, and they are mutable in nature, and they are having an indexed reference. So every value in a list is indexed, and then there are lot of built-in methods and properties that are available in Python, which you can utilize along with the lists. Okay, make sense, guys?
Yes,
uh,
sir.
yeah, all right,
Yes, sir.
let me go ahead and delete them. And the very next one, if I go, that will be like tuples. Okay, so what are these tuples? Tuples are also ordered sequence of objects. The only difference is lists are mutable, whereas tuples are immutable, and they have a syntax change. Instead of square brackets, they can utilize parentheses, open and close parentheses. So the two major differences between lists and tuples is the way that's the syntax for referencing it. Instead of square brackets, you use parenthesis, open parenthesis and close parenthesis. And another thing is lists are mutable, whereas tuples are immutable. Okay, so let's understand what does that mean. All right, let's understand that now. So tuples in many ways are similar to lists, but they are defined in parentheses rather than square brackets. That is what we saw. So now how do you define a tuple? Tuple name uh, equal to open and close parenthesis and give those values. Okay, and they can also be defined without any brackets at all. Like for example, t is equal to 1 2 3, and they don't have a parenthesis. Even that is also acceptable, but the best practice is to give them a parenthesis. That's the best practice. Okay, now like the list we have, right? We have seen certain built-in functions or the methods that come along with it. It's the same length. You can find the length of the tuple by giving length is len, and then it can also be indexed because they are also what, they are also ordered sequence of objects. Okay, ordered sequence of objects. That is the reason. Like for example, if I go ahead, uh, tuple1 is equal to let's say 12 23 55. If I go ahead, so let's say tube 2 is equal to, you can go ahead and give uh 54 65 88 99. All right, and I can give them one without the parenthesis as well. That's also fine, absolutely fine, because that is what a tuple can also be done with. So if I can go ahead, tuple 1, and if I want to find the length of it, the simple is just to use len. Len will return me the length, which is 1 2 3, which is 3. And I can go ahead and reference each value of a tuple by indexing it. Okay, if I go ahead and say tuple 0, what it will return? Yeah, yeah, sorry. Okay, so now sorry, it is not defined, right? All right. Anyways, so now if I go ahead and give the index, so what it will be, the at the index position 0, tup1 contains 12. Okay, even this is also can be done in tuples, but let's see this. Tuple 1 index of 0 is equal to 11. So now what is happening here? Some miracle has happened now. What has happened? Tuple 0, at the 0th index, I am trying to modify, instead of 12 I want to change it to 11. So what is it throwing? An error, type error, tuple object does not support item assignment. So why is this saying? Because of the very premise of tuple, which is it is immutable. You cannot modify a tuple. Okay, they are not mutable objects, they are immutable in nature. Okay, so that is the reason if you go ahead and assign a certain value to it, it will show object does not support item assignment. The main distinction feature between the tuple is that it is immutable. This means this means that once they are created, their size and contents cannot be changed. A very, very important point here. Okay, so whenever, just remember for life, whenever you use tuples, what it means is they are immutable and you cannot modify the size, you cannot modify the content. Okay, content means the values in the tuple, and this is a very important statement in Python in relation to tuples. Tuples are immutable and you cannot change the size, you cannot change the contents of a tuple. That is the reason they are immutable in nature. So understood, guys?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now, if you observe here, t append, you cannot append also. The object has no attribute called append. So obviously it does not exist. There is nothing called as append here. Now, if I go ahead and show you tup1 dot tab out. So what you get is only two properties exist for tuple. Okay, so what are those? One is count and another is index. That's it. There is nothing for tuple. Now if I go ahead and tuple 1, this is the tuple 1. Let's say I go ahead and create tuple 3 is equal to, okay, it might be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then I create 1, 2, 1. That's it. So now I've just created another tuple called tuple 3, and tuple 3 will contain all these. And if I find the length of tuple 3, what it is, tup3, it contains 8 elements in it, 8 values. Now I want to see the count. Okay, tuple 3 dot count of a particular thing. So what it shows me, one of the built-in methods for tuples is count of a particular value. So in a tuple 3, I want to count how many ones exist in the tuple 3. So there is 1, 2, and 3. 3 ones exist in tuple 3. That is the reason it is returning me the count 3. Okay, and another thing is tuple 3 dot index. What this is saying, what this is saying, tuple dot index is not in tuple. So what it is showing, it is showing me that 0 does not exist here, whereas if I give 1, what will happen, it will give me at 0th position. But why is only 0? Why not 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5? 5 is also existing one, and 6, 7 is also existing one. But what you need to understand, that index method will return you the very first occurrence of that what you are searching here, which means the moment 1 is encountered in the tuple for the very first time, it will return the index of that. That's it. Whatever exists after that, it doesn't care. The moment it finds one occurrence, and it will return that occurrence. Like for example, if I go ahead and find 4, so then what it will return? 0, 1, 2, 3. It will return 3. So it is returning 3. So in tuples, there are only two methods that are built in. One is called count, and another is called index. So count will return how many times a particular element or the value exists in a tuple, and second, index will return the index of the element that is passed as an argument. Okay, and that is only the very first occurrence and not the rest of one. Okay, understood, guys?
Yes, sir.
Okay, good.
Yes, sir.
Fantastic. Now let's go ahead and see what else you can do. Tuples are also Python program. Fine, fine. This is yeah, this is of that, not that important, but yeah, if you understand that, it's well and fine. So what it is saying is, as an integer ratio, again, this is not part of the tuple, but you can go ahead. What it says is, tuples are often used in Python program, a particular common case in the function that has multiple return values. For example, as integer ratio method is a floating point object, returns a numerator and the denominator. This dual returns value comes in the form of a tuple. Okay, so what it means is, whenever the usage of a tuple I'm talking about, why is that usage of the tuple is important? Like, if you take this method, now let's say there is pi value. Okay, there is a pi value. Pi value is what? 22 by 7. Okay, that is what my pi value is. All right, and if I go ahead and find what the let's say pi tab out, it will directly give me, and it will return me this particular floating point number. But in Python, there is a built-in method called as integer ratio. What it means is, you want to fetch the integer ratio of this particular element, what you have given. So what this has given me? This has given me two values. One value is this, another value is this. Okay, so what it means is, if I take, and if you observe that, the resultant of that is also a tuple. Okay, so it has given me two numbers, number 1 and 2. If I go ahead and store that into tuple 4. Now let me say tuple 4. Okay, now tuple 4, what it contains? Tuple 4 contains two values, which is 1 and 2, which are two combinations. If I go divide this by this, right? Like for example, let's say tuple 4 of index 0 divided by tuple 4 of index 1. So what this will give me? This will still return me the value 3.1428. So what it is it is related to this function. What is this function? As integer ratio. So whatever the decimal point that you give, it will be converted. This method, built-in method, will convert it into two values, which is a numerator and a denominator value. The first one is a numerator value, second one is a denominator value. If you divide numerator by denominator, that will return you the original value, which is a floating point number. So that is one of the ways that you can utilize the tuples as well. But a lot of usage are there. There might be like for example, stock price. Okay, stock price, how you can give stock price is equal to, let's say that it is a list of what? A list of tuples. Okay, first is a APLL or AAPL which is Apple, and then you give the stock market value. Then you can give, then go ahead and give TSLA, Tesla, then its stock market value might be 120 or 234. I'm just making it up values here, guys. MSFT, which is a ticker for Microsoft, and this value might be like 109. All right. So now what it contains, this we have created a stock price is a variable of a type list, and this list contains individual values which are tuples. Okay, so now what does let's give, okay, I need to give it in as quotes because this is a string, right, guys? So I just need, yeah, this will be good now. So what it contains, the first element of a tuple is a ticker. You usually call this as ticker. Ticker is nothing but a stock market. In the stock market, the ticker is a short form for that company name. Okay, so now APPL is or A or AAPL. I think this is a AAPL, not APPL. It is AAPL. AAPL is for Apple. TSLA is for Tesla. MSFT is Microsoft, and these are the stock values related to those. And then I can go ahead and put down break into these list into a tuples, and then go ahead and use them. All this usage can be there whenever we plot a graph or anything, when we go ahead and see numpy, plotly, and all other things where there are many packages comes along with Python. These kind of combination with the lists and tuples is very useful. Okay, so just to bring you the usage there, that's it. Now on the usage perspective, why do we want to learn another variable of that kind of a tuple? Okay, so yeah, I mean that's about tuples, guys. That's about tuples. Do you guys have any questions related to the list and tuples now?
No, sir.
So sometimes some people call tuples as tuples as well. That is also, I mean, it's up to them. Nothing in it. But yeah, I mean that's about it. Lists and tuples, and again there is also something called as dictionaries. We'll get to the dictionaries very soon. It's 9:45. I mean, just to give you a background on dictionaries, right? Dictionaries are how dictionaries are nothing but they are also unordered. Okay, they are unordered collection or a sequence of objects which are also immutable in nature. Okay, which are mutable in nature. All right, so if you see, these are unordered sequence of objects which are mutable in nature, you can modify them. Okay, so how does the dictionary works? They always appear in a key value pairing. Key is always in a quotes, and value can be a number or a string or anything. Let's create one example here. Okay, dict1 is equal to, it always starts with the flower brackets, and then you give let's say name. You go ahead and give the name, and then followed by let's say Messi. Okay, let's say, and then separated by a comma, and then give a Ballon d'Or. So how many Ballon d'Ors he has scored? So that can be equal to 7, which is a which is what? Which is nothing but a integer. Okay, this is a string. This is a integer. So always dictionary has starts with the open and close curly brackets. So order is not important. You can fetch individual values through the key. So key is here a name, and the key is here Ballon d'Or, which is a key, and then followed by a colon, which will give the value. This is a key and value pairing, and each individual key and value pairing is separated by a comma. Okay, that is what you can see it here. So open and close curly brackets. There is a key colon value comma key colon values. Okay, all these are key value pairings. And if I go ahead and execute this, and my dict1 will be this one, and if I go ahead and see type, and this will be a dict type. Okay, So now there are multiple ways that I can access the dictionary values of a dictionaries as well. Like for example, one is dictionary followed by, within the square brackets you need to give the key, and that key will give you the value of that key, so that will return the value. That is how you access the values based on the key that you give. So it is something like, let's say, dict 1, then within the square bracket I am going to give the key name should be in quotes because it is a string, and if I give this, it will return me the value associated with this key. So the key is always in quotes, either in single quotes or double quotes. Anything is fine, guys. You can go ahead and put a double quotes also. That is also fine because that also represents it's a string. Okay, and dict one, with the within the square brackets you give the key name, and it will return you the value associated with that dictionary. And again, the dictionary values, here you can see it is a number, here it is a list, here the value is also a list of strings, here the list of numbers. Okay, and now there are also some of the built-in methods associated with these dictionaries as well. Okay, there are a lot of them. Some of them we can go ahead and see in the next session, what to do and how to do and how to manipulate the dictionaries, access the values in the dictionaries and everything. Okay, yeah, thanks guys, thank you, and you guys have a good night.